Yeah. Hey, Tommy. Hey, McWalters. What's up, man? Hey, Julius. Let's turn on the correct microphone here.
Yeah, but make
I
sure
hate
the right one
that.
too.
Flip it from
Dude,
AirPod.
hold on. I might not have the correct one on either. What
It
the heck?
sound good, or it sounds like it is, but double check it.
Yeah, I'm double checking right now.
Oh, look at this. Renewed talks. The most predictable shit ever.
Of course.
You good, Tommy?
I mean, I sound all right, don't I?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, it sounds like everything is correct.
Cool.
Just double checking that you're comfortable with it.
I'm good to go, man.
Good to go. Shall we get the party
Yes, sir.
started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. A happy hour edition of Light Years. You're just experimenting with different times. Like, in season, we're gonna be live after games. You know when to find us. We have 5 days till camp. So really, we're very close to season starting, which means the Warriors should start taking their own shit seriously. But everybody, presented by Prize Picks, get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 and you use the promo code welcome to Light Years. Sam Spandiari here. Tommy joining me. And we are 5 days away from camp and still 9 players on the roster. Still 9 guys total on the roster. Before we get to that,
it sounds like there's about 13 guys at Jimmy's mini camp down in San Diego, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. By the way, did you see ESPN rank had Jimmy 17th best player in the NBA?
I did.
I was pleasantly surprised by that.
Same. That feels fair. And especially after his playoff run, I thought he'd maybe be a little bit playoff run without Steph. I thought maybe
season,
be a little lower.
The season, to be honest,
Yep.
Kind of dramatic season, I'm not gonna pretend he's blameless. But
no. But what that does tell me is like, I mean, it kind of tells me a couple things. That, like, number one, people, they paid attention to the Warriors end of the regular season. You know what I mean? Like, Jimmy might not be the true number one guy in the playoffs anymore. And again, I've said this a million times, like, he was injured, post game 2 of the Houston series, and that can't be forgotten. The guy could barely run, but maybe he's not, 2021 Jimmy Butler, 2023 Jimmy Butler, which is fine. But the guy is still an incredible player. And as far as like number 2s go in the NBA, you're going to be hard pressed to find another one. Like, as long as Steph is healthy, there aren't, unless we're talking about obviously Giannis, those guys don't count. But if you're just talking about,
they're not number 2s. That's just having 2 number 1s.
Exactly.
We had that for 3 years in the Bay, and everyone cried about how unfair it was.
Exactly. But as far as number 2s go, and especially in terms of the compliment to Steph, like, it's pretty damn ideal, man. And I know that this summer has been a mess, and I didn't know what I was going to be feeling like coming on the pod today, whether I was going to be mad at Joe and Kirk and Mike and all those guys, or I didn't know what my mood was going to be like.
I'm mad at John Phelps, to be honest, their cap guy.
Yeah, seriously. But I'm feeling, I guess, somewhat optimistic. Like, this team was really good to like end last season. And yeah, they were playing kind of balls to the wall, but like, if they stay healthy, I think they're underrated. Their over-under right now is 45.5 wins. That feels incredibly low if they are able to, again, and probably some of the health is baked into that. If they're able to stay healthy, I think they're going to blow by that 45.5 number.
Yeah, I mean, the player ranking summed it up. 25-27 pre-trade, 23-7 post-trade.
There you go.
Jimmy, Jimmy is a top 20 impact guy. He might even be a top 10 impact guy, but top 20 sounds fair. He's a fucking good player. Like, there are not a lot of wings who can average 20 and also be a lead playmaker, which is what he
Mhm,
can. Now, he can't
mhm.
average 30. I know the playoff dream moments in Miami gave you like the illusion that he had it in him, and he's one of the biggest gamers I can think of in this era of the NBA. So, like, he is crazy enough to do that. But in general, I just don't think he's both wired and, quite frankly, skilled enough to be like a true like first option scorer.
Yeah.
But what he is a guy who maxes out every other skill, and his best offensive skill, in my estimation, is his playmaking, like his ability to leverage his ability to slash and make plays for others, which actually
Mhm.
fits perfect with Steph. So in some ways, I think he's actually better as a number two on the Warriors than he would be on other teams. Like, I could just see him paired with a more ball dominant player who also
Mhm.
likes to get in the lane, and us being like, they're both good, but the fit isn't there. Like, how would Jimmy look with like Shea?
Uh,
They'd be
and
fine because of the talent, but like
yeah.
it would be a clunkier fit than it is with Steph, who likes to get off ball, who
Mhm.
stretches everyone out, where their games are just so complementary of each other.
Yeah, of like the true top guys, if we're going like Jokic, Giannis, Shea, Luca. Um, I mean, the only guy I think he would have a chance to like look similar with to Steph is Jokic because Jokic does control the ball a lot, but there's just a lot of movement involved in that Denver system. And I think he'd look pretty damn good there in like kind of a hybrid Aaron Gordon role or whatever. Like, if you put him in that role or you let him do a lot more playmaking than Gordon does, I think he'd look great there. But like wouldn't look great next to Giannis, wouldn't look great next to Luca. Like that would be all be clunkier fits.
LeBron, honestly.
LeBron, sure. Like it really is just such a great fit. And I'm just, number one, please figure the Kuminga shit out. And it sounds like they might from what we just saw in the chat here. But number two, like this team has a chance to be really fucking good. And I hope we can start to focus on that within the next 72 hours. Cause I'm tired of talking about the Kuminga stuff, man. Like just get it over with.
Yeah, it's like we all know the issues. They're old. Yeah, him and Steph are old. Their biggest issue is going to be staying healthy,
Mhm.
and that's a big deal. But if they do stay healthy and they are able to navigate it with depth and the appropriate amount of luck baked into not having bad injuries at the wrong time, they're going to be dangerous for anyone. They
Yeah.
are. No one's going to walk all over them. As far like, I would be shocked if you get into a playoff scenario with the two of them healthy and they get swept or they lose in five in what is in competitive series. Like, I could see them losing to a younger team where we're just like, you know what, the baton's been passed. But
Mhm.
it's hard for me to imagine a scenario where they just look like, yeah, this is they look like a Eastern Conference playing team or something.
Yeah, no, they're gonna get. I mean, I think just 2 games at most, or at least off of just like, pure smarts and grit and obviously skill level too, just with Steph. But like, they're gonna get 2, and if you can like essentially guarantee that you're getting 2 games in a playoff series, you kind of take your chances. Like, they're not going to be an easy out against anybody. Maybe OKC overwhelms them with youth and athleticism, like you said. Maybe Denver's just better because they have the best player in the world. Like, you can come up with reasons why they're going to lose, but there wouldn't be a single playoff series where I'd be like, okay, they have no chance. Like, as dominant as OKC was, and they might be even better next year because they're all young, they still went to 7 twice, and again, they probably will be a little bit better next season. But still, they didn't have this incredibly dominant playoff run. They easily could have lost to Denver, and they easily could
Yeah.
have lost to Indiana.
Yeah. Anyway, um, it's cool hearing that they're working out in San Diego now.
Mhm.
I'm kind of excited about that. It also just shines a bigger light on the Kuminga thing. Did you
Mhm.
did you see Shams's reporting? It was pretty funny. It's like the potential Warriors roster, which I felt like was code for Al Horford, Seth Curry.
D'Anthony Melton.
Is Melton cleared?
I would assume he's there. Maybe he's not doing the 5-on-5 stuff, but I would assume
Yeah,
they're
okay,
not
that's
just
that's what
going.
that's what I mean. I don't. I
Yeah,
I would be shocked if he's doing 5-on-5 with that injury
especially without
without
medical staff.
without a without a contract at this point.
Yeah, or just even without like medical staff present. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, Has Rick even been able to check him out yet? Is that even, I don't know. Is that legal by CBA standards? Can a team doctor check you out if you're not signed to that team officially?
No, they can't. So
Right.
there's zero chance he's playing pickup.
Right.
Zero. To your point, I would, if he's signing with the Warriors, which we all believe he will. Light your sources. Told you first. Summer league. I highly doubt he's participating in a 5-on-5 and risking, the clay, or like honestly Fred VanVleet this week. Like
Sure.
that sucks, man. It
Yeah.
just it's nobody wants that. Nobody wants
No.
that for anyone. So anyway, putting that aside, because that's really not the story. It does shine a light on this Kuminga thing.
Mhm.
Sam Amick came out with an article, which we'll talk about in a minute. But unsigned, 5 days away from minicamp. It's getting a larger magnifying glass. TK wrote an article today. My question for you at this point is, do you think this even gets resolved before media day?
To act like I have any,
Because
like,
let me walk through the timeline real quick, just for those who don't know. Although I'd be shocked if everyone listening to the show is not very well versed in the timeline. Media day is Monday the 29th. Technically, he has until Friday the 1st, or sorry, Thursday the 1st, Wednesday the 1st. Jesus, to sign the qualifying offer. So first couple days of training camp could technically be without any sort of resolution. You and I both know what it's going to look like if he's not there on the first day of training camp. Everyone's going to be asking questions to Steph, to Steve, to Draymond, to Pods, to, everyone under the rug, and they're going to have to answer for him. And no one's really going to care what Will Richards says, but I don't think Steph's going to be thrilled having to answer that stuff.
No. And that might be the biggest kind of or Draymond for that fact. Jimmy, I don't know if Jimmy really cares. Obviously he likes being with the Warriors, but the level of true investment like a Steph or a Draymond has in the way that they built this, they have to be they can put out through sources all they want that they're not annoyed by the situation and they understand it. There's no way. There is no way, especially after the way that, I know the end of the Clay stuff was ugly, especially after the way that ended. It's just time and time again, this honestly post Bob, they just seem to fumble these things. And you make any excuse you want, but at the end of the day, what positive have they done post Bob? The Jimmy trade, right? And that's about it.
Yeah, it's a pretty big positive.
Yeah,
but I hear what you're saying.
It's a massive positive, and give them credit for it. They pulled it off, and they got him for a low price. But the CP3 trade, yuck. That contract just ends up expiring, and now you have to re-sign. I saw you and Andy talk about this last time. Now you have to re-sign Kuminga because you don't have any of that CP3 contract left to play with in a trade. So they keep making these mistakes and then throwing their hands up oh, woe is me. We really can't do anything. We were put in this position. You look in the mirror. You are the ones that put yourself in this position. And Steph and Draymond aren't idiots. They've been witnessing all this stuff kind of the last 4, 5, 6 years, however long you want to extend it. They can't be thrilled. And the last thing Steph wants to do, because he never wants to put any bad words out publicly about the organization, no matter how he feels about certain people. The last thing he wants to do is answer questions about this, because he might not be as diplomatic as he wants to be, essentially.
I have two thoughts on the matter. One, I think the Warriors front office and experiences showed massively during this entire thing. One of my favorite things that the media does is they love to refer to the Warriors as the Warriors, as to insinuate this is the same front office that won 4 titles. You know what I mean? It's the Warriors, they like to do things this way. It's that's great. They like to do things this way. When they won a title, Bob Myers was the GM, Jerry West and Travis Schlenk were there. It's not the same organization. I know Kirk was there, but he was not in a leadership position. Mike joined the team during the pandemic. The rest of the front office, I'm not going to list every name, but Chuck Hayes, go down the list. Those are all new hires. I'm not saying new hires are a bad thing, because everyone churns jobs. Are you in the same job you were in 5 years ago? No. Am I? No. That's life. But the framing of it as if this is the way they like to do it, as if it's the same steady leadership, is a stretch And
That's
certainly
putting it kindly.
it's a favorable framing to them. And so what I'm seeing this offseason is a leadership that didn't really understand what they were dealing with in the restricted free agency market with this guy. And you can say he's acting crazy. And you're probably right to the extent to which Kuminga doesn't have options. It's not like he doesn't have a cap space team who threw him an offer sheet. He's trying to wiggle his way out of it and force a trade.
Mhm.
But you also have to know who you're dealing with. You got to know your personnel. You got to know what he thinks of himself. You got to know what he thinks of your team. You got to know all this. And you got to kind of make decisions before they happen. Like, I think a good leader gets in front of this a year before it happens, deals with all this stuff before it happens, and doesn't make everything kind of a grindy negotiation that leads everyone uncomfortable. I think my biggest issue with this thing is I can't see a scenario where Kuminga comes back and it's not dramatic.
Yeah. We're too late into the game now.
He clearly wants to go. I can't even blame him for wanting to go. I understand why he wants to go. But now you're going to bring him back. You know him and Steve have butted heads. You know exactly how it's going to play out those first 50 games. And this is kind of the front. I guess my whole thing is the front office should be the one who reads the tea leaves on that and gets in front of it instead of getting us 4 days before camp where we're finally seeing some real traction because everyone's feeling a little fire under their ass that like deal has to get done by next week. We got to figure this out, you know?
Dude, it's like a bunch of immature eighth graders procrastinating a class project until like the final day of school for the year. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh shit, we have this massive thing due and now we've got to figure it out. But, I think the bigger thing is as much as the Wiseman saga sucked in a lot of ways, Bob's last year as being GM, he moves off of Wiseman, and like none of us were necessarily happy with the return, like it ends up being you're just essentially swapping Wiseman back for GP2. But he still essentially got ahead of that situation enough to where it didn't have to become an even bigger issue. And this front office, again, had so many opportunities to get ahead of this Kuminga thing, and they just never did. And now they're acting like they've been put in this terrible position when they're the ones that put themselves in this position. It never had to get to this point, and yet here we are 5 days out from training camp, and nothing's solved. I should probably go to break here in a second, but I want to get your take on what do you think Steph and Draymond are thinking if we go into media day and this isn't solved? What do you think their reaction is going to be?
I think Draymond's going to back Kuminga because Draymond will always back the player.
Sure.
I think Steph will say word salad, which he's increasingly getting worse at because he's getting older and having less patience for it. But he's going to try to be like, that's tricky. Everyone wants to do this and we'd like to have him back. Come on, Steph. He's the ultimate leader. He's not going to like throw this under the bus in a terrible way. That's what I think is going to happen. As we say that, Sam Amick comes out with an article here, which I want to talk about right now. And I was trying to set it up, and I've been telling you guys this for a couple of weeks, and by that I mean I'm just using basic common sense. Sounds like the Kings are back at the table here.
Yep.
So. And that's where we're at. I think we need to all be honest with ourselves. The Warriors don't want Kuminga. They were hoping to get him on a sweetheart deal to make a better trade in January. And they were so transparent about it, which again is a rookie front office thing. It's a young front office thing. The way I look at it is like they're green. I think Bob might have been able to get in front of that and get that done because he might have tried to get it done 6 months ago.
Yep.
Because he's proven he knows how to negotiate with people.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're here. They have to at least be tangling with the reality of if we bring him back on a deal that is not, he's not happy about, it's actually going to be a worse trade chip in January.
Yeah.
Like you have to actually be realistic with that being the possibility. You think he's a malcontent? Wait until he's a malcontent after a long negotiation where you kind of embarrassed him publicly.
Yeah.
So I think all of that's leading to these renewed talks. And as we're seeing, the Kings are clearly the team who's shown the most interest in this. And I'm not going to read all of Sam Amick's reporting. You guys should check it out. He's just saying there's renewed conversations. The part that's interesting here is kind of what I
Mm.
was somewhat expecting, which is the Warriors don't want Malik Monk. They're trying to find a third team and see if they can figure out something that is more palatable. Um, your thoughts on that? I guess your thoughts on taking Malik Monk if it costs you Moody or Buddy, because that's the thing. If they pull off this trade, it's Kuminga. You're sending Buddy or Moody somewhere else for cap reasons. You're probably getting a first round pick that's
Mhm.
less protected than whatever the public reporting is today. So that's a nice thing to have. And then
Mhm.
you have Malik Monk. So you've given up 2 wings and one who's a 4, or 2 who are a 4 according to Steve Kerr. And you're getting back a score and a pick.
Well, to start, I don't think they would move Moses just from like a role standpoint. I think Buddy's the guy who ends up being moved, and that is I understand it. That's tough to me because Buddy seems to be such a beloved figure in the locker room. Everybody seems to have taken a liking to him. And like that stuff is underrated. You do need talent above all else to win a championship, but like that stuff is underrated in general, I think. So that would suck. Um, and I just think, but I think role wise, more importantly, like if you Monk and Monk and Buddy is like kind of clunky. Um, if you kind of need that wing defender, Buddy isn't that for his strengths. He is definitely not like he competes on defense, but he's just never going to be anything more than an average defender. Moses has shown the ability to be an above average to maybe even one day potentially like very, very good defender. So I think it has to be Buddy going out in that trade. But I think the bigger concern is like if you trade for Monk and you keep him, like now look at your roster. How many guards do you have? Like you're bringing in Al Horford and you're bringing in Seth Curry, Gary Payton II, and DeAnthony Melton. They're already small as is, even if they bring back Kuminga. Now you're bringing in another guard to that mix. Like, and again, this is why you need to get something done earlier in the summer because all the options are dried up. Like Precious Achua just got signed today. If you get this done 2 weeks earlier and you trade for Monk, then maybe you bring in Precious. It's just like kind of a spot minutes 4-man. But everything's gone now. So you have to do it either via trade or you're stuck with like a roster of like 9 guards and 4 to 5 guys 6'5" or taller. Like it just and I like Monk as a player. I'm probably higher on him than the Warriors are. I think he's a damn good player. He has his flaws, but I think he can really score. He's a very underrated playmaker. Has real off the dribble shooting juice, but like I don't know. It's just such an imbalanced roster at that point.
See, I disagree with you. When we're actually going to talk about this, our guy Jason Timpf made a similar case to you. I have a harder time giving up Buddy.
Really?
Because I think the way the Warriors play has so much to do with guys moving off ball and the havoc it creates as shooters. And he's really the only other guy than Steph who can do that.
I know.
Granted, theoretically against Seth Curry, he can do that.
Go ahead.
I hear what you're saying on the guarding thing. I thought Buddy was better defensively than he got credit for last year. I don't think there's actually. Let me get to my bigger point because I hate giving up either of them in this construct because it feels too steep. But to the point of Malik Monk versus Buddy Hield, specifically for the Warriors, I'm not convinced Malik Monk's even a better player. I think there's a lot of games during the season, particularly in the dog days of the season, I will want to pull my hair out begging for a guy like Malik Monk. Like you and I both know that January game where they're playing the Indiana Pacers or the Orlando Magic and nobody can score the ball. And you're just like, can someone other than Steph create their own shot? And you're going to be butthurt that they don't have someone like Malik Monk. And I'll be the first to say it. But when I'm thinking about the Warriors in the larger construct, to Steve Kerr's for better or worse, he's going to be the decision maker here. He views them both as 6 men.
Yeah.
And one of them fits cleaner around Jimmy when Jimmy's engaged as a playmaker. And that's having a guy who can really move off ball, really shoot the ball, can go off in a game 7. So I hate giving that up because they have so little shooting. And as much as I like Malik Monk, go look at his percentages. He's not a great shooter.
Yeah.
He's a streaky shooter. He can get hot. He can definitely score the ball. He will be able to get 40 on self-creation at some point during the season, which is something the Warriors have not had since Jordan Poole. So, like, I understand all that, but it's a bitter pill to swallow that not only do you give up Kuminga for Monk, which, say what you want, but you're still getting a guard for theoretically a 3-4, kind of a 4. And then you have to give up one of your decent depth pieces. Depth pieces, I think we both agree we're probably asked to do a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I have a hard time with it. The last point I'll make on this is there's a reason no one's willing to take Malik Monk, because I think everyone likes Malik Monk on 50% of his contract. But in this current CBA landscape, it kind of is hard to have a guy like that who might scale down to 15 minutes a game in the playoffs on that type of money.
All fair. I think what we're really saying here is they put themselves in a position where there are no good options. And once upon a time there was. And that's why this sucks. Because you're dealing with, like, it's that we talked about so many times. You're playing whack-a-mole. You're plugging holes in a ship. Like, there are no good options left. And it's just so frustrating. Like, we can talk in circles about how it might or might not work, but at the end of the day, it's probably a lateral move at best. I don't know if it makes them worse, but I don't know if it makes them better either.
I mean, and then you want to talk about finding a third team to send them to.
Good luck.
Brooklyn, Utah. That's about it.
Yeah,
that's about it right now.
Who
I'd have to look at who has cap exceptions. I mean, there's a limited number of options. Like, what do you do if you go, because you'd have to sweeten the pot for them to take Malik Monk. So now you get rid of the first round pick you just took. Like, are you really going to do Kuminga to Sacramento, Monk in the pick to Brooklyn, and then Hayward Highsmith?
Ugh.
So then you don't have to shed Moses or Buddy, and you get a guy who's in a position of need, or, a position you want. Like, it's pretty crappy. It's pretty crappy here.
Again, it's so frustrating, man. I mean, okay, let's move off to the Monk point. There's probably no truth to this, or at least nothing that Kings are willing to deal with. How many picks would you be willing to give up for Keegan Murray? The Warriors won't do it because, God forbid, Giannis comes available.
It's in the CBA. They can't trade picks. They're out to get Joe. They said 29 teams can trade picks. Joe can't trade picks.
True. I forgot about that part.
Nobody reads the CBA. I think I'd give up a first.
Just one?
I think I'd give up one. Well, because they're going to have to pay Keegan next summer. And I'm not convinced, because Keegan's going to ask for 30.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to leverage 25 at minimum. When you see Jabari Smith get 25, when you see Christian Brown is speculated to get about the same, Trey Murphy signed for 25 a year. Sorry, 25 escalating, starting at 25, escalating. And that was before he broke out. So now, like, everyone's trying to find the next Trey Murphy, where you sign him to that 25 deal, and then like a year later, it's like, oh shit, he's worth like double this, that sort of thing. Keegan Murray's going to be able to get 30. He's going to be able to get 30 given the skill set and the scarcity of guys who can do what he potentially can do. Not even what he does, just potentially can do. How many guys are there who are 6'8", 6'9", can really shoot the ball, can really defend, and are willing to buy into that role? It's a limited pool. If they're good at it, they get 40, 50. If they're kind of good at it and inconsistent, they get 25 to 30.
Mm-hmm.
And so my whole thing is, do the Kings even want to pay both of them? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, no, I get it. But, like, I mean, I think I don't know. I'd give up a couple picks for Keegan, and some of that is just getting off Kuminga, like avoiding the entire situation. I think Keegan's a better player, at least more valuable within the Warriors team construct. Like you can be able to put out some awesome lineups if you get Keegan.
Well,
Like really
he's
fun,
what
really
they
good lineups.
wanted. He's what they want Kuminga to be. And honestly, Keegan might be closer to Harrison Barnes than Trey Murphy. But
I think he's better than
also,
HB, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
they could use prime HB. So
Yeah,
it's not like an
yeah,
insult. HB is
absolutely.
just a less explosive version of those guys. Like less likely to make 8 or 9 threes and score
Sure.
40 in a game.
Sure,
Um,
absolutely. No, but you're right. It is kind of like that same archetype mold. And yeah, I'd take Prime HB on this team. It wouldn't even be clunky. He'd be really nice if you could just swap Kuminga for Prime Harrison Barnes. Um, but yeah, I
Prime
mean,
Harrison Barnes is like pretty much what they want him to be, which is playoff ball, hit your shots, and then every now and then you'll be like when you get the ball, just attack a closeout
sure.
and defend and obviously defend your ass off.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just interesting. So apparently, we got our guy Darren in the chat here saying Brett Siegel said Kings reached out to Golden State and asked what it would take. So Golden State got some control. Who knows? Maybe I don't. Who knows how accurate that is? But if that's the truth, maybe they can pry Keegan away. But I just have such little faith that they can maneuver that correctly, given what we talked about earlier about how inexperienced this front office is.
If they can do it, I'll take back everything negative I said. Clip
Oh,
it
I won't.
right
I
now.
won't. I won't.
Right now. If they are able to turn Kuminga into Keegan Murray at the last minute, Kirk, I love you. You're the man. I will be so like I'm gonna be honest with you. They made it uncomfortable all summer. I
Mhm.
was pissed, but they would have got what they wanted, which was the Kings finally being desperate at the end and putting on the table what they didn't want. Can you at least not give them credit if they did that?
You get credit. You get credit, I guess, but like,
Yeah, but they weren't getting Keegan in July. You know what I mean?
yeah, I sure, but I don't know. It's like it's like the guy who like literally never does anything for his girlfriend, and then like the smallest gesture, it's like, oh wow, he treats me so well. That's that's the situation we're in right now. Like, wow, you guys did this, not the simplest thing, but you guys finally did something, and we're supposed to stand up
No,
and
but
applaud for you.
can't you at least acknowledge? I don't know how I got here as the, but
Right.
can't you at least acknowledge playing the long game and not overreacting to shit in August would have ended up getting him a better deal? This is all hypothetical. I don't think it's
Sure.
happening, to be
I
clear.
don't either.
I
I don't
don't think
either.
it's happening, to be clear. But if it ends up happening that way, I have to at least be like, you know what? Credit to you for not flinching as Tommy, Andy, and I were just killing you every day.
Hey, Joe Lake, a top 10 blackjack player in the world. So like, if he pulls this off, yeah, I guess they get some credit, but I'm not gonna like. I still won't have like more faith in them moving forward. Like I'll still have kind of the same general thoughts, but I guess they'll get in a vacuum. They'll get some praise for this move.
I think it's I'm curious if it is actually attainable because
Hmm.
I love the idea of Keegan because I actually think the Warrior system will unlock him the way
Hmm.
he likes to play basketball. It's too obvious that you'll see the best version of Keegan Murray on the Warriors. But at the same time, he shot the ball poorly for 2 years in a row. And
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious the Kings keep getting players who kill the rhythm of an offense and he's just catching grenades. He's not Klay Thompson. Clay's gonna have a 4 in the front of his 3-point percentage, no matter what quality of shot he gets. He's one of the 5 greatest shooters of all time. Most guys, if you're throwing them bullshit passes at the end of a shot clock, it's gonna hurt them. If you're not letting them touch the ball 5 possessions in a row because DeRozan needs to, get into his mid-range game, like it's going to have an adverse effect on them, right? Like, and that's why I've been super intrigued by him. I always wonder if there's a buy low possibility here.
Hmm. No, I mean, he's not like an elite shooter, but he is I think at the very least he's a good shooter. Like I do think still, even with a couple bad years, 36 to 38% on like pretty good volume, 6 to 7 threes is very attainable for him. But I think the bigger thing is like teams guard him. Like teams aren't going to leave Keegan Murray open in big moments. You know what I mean? Like
because
I
he
just
can
don't.
shoot.
Right. I just don't see that happening. But like he's, there's so many guys in the league shoot 36-ish% from three nowadays. A lot of those guys don't get guarded. Keegan is one of those guys who does get guarded. And so
It's like the Jordan Poole thing. Like Jordan Poole's percentage, 41 year, 32 the other. You really not going to get your hand up when he shoots it though? Like be real.
Oh, you got to. You
So
got to.
yeah, I mean that's a dream scenario. I feel like it's copium, to be honest with you, or hopium. Hopium is what the expression is.
It is hopium, but like I don't know, man. What else do we have left to talk about until they actually do something?
I'll tell you what we have to talk about.
Oh boy,
guys. I like to talk about how underwear really is the only thing that defines whether I'm in a good or bad mood. You will literally be able to tell by talking to me if I'm on laundry day or if it's the day one after laundry where I wear my favorite pair. And that favorite pair is obviously Skims. Guys, Skims are by far the best boxer briefs I've ever purchased. They have that perfect blend of structure, but also comfort. I can do everything in them. I can go work out in them. I can work at a desk job in them. I can do whatever. It's the most comfortable pair I've ever had. I was a little skeptical they were going to be that much better than other ones I tried. Idiot. They're the best things I've ever had, guys. So, I'm just going to shoot you all straight. The older you get, the more it's about the little things that really make a difference. Like we can all go get a button down white shirt, whatever. Yeah, I can't really tell the difference between one that costs $200 and one that costs $30, But underwear, it actually has a innate effect on your mood. And I've yet to find a pair that's even in the same league as Skims, guys. So, guys, shop Skims Men's at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu. It'll say Light Years. So select podcast, look for our show. Guys, shop Skims Men's at skims.com.
Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss out on any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. We got some Thursday night football tomorrow. I believe we got Seahawks and Cardinals. Sam Darnold, best quarterback by EPA in the league by far this year. So I'm going to go his touchdowns are only half a touchdown right now. I'm definitely taking the more on that. I'm going to take the more on Jackson Smith and Jigba, 84.5 yards. And I'm taking less on Marvin Harrison Jr., 45.5 receiving yards. I think that guy just sucks, honestly. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports takes into real money all season long on Prize Picks. The app is really easy to use. To create your lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats for your shot to win. So download the app today and use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
All right, guys. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hop over to playback. We are going to go to callers momentarily. Just want to throw that out there. And if you're on playback, request to speak on the stage. We will get to you momentarily. Brett Siegel also comes out with something on the Kuminga front. Scanning it right now. How about this for a question for you?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not Keegan Murray, what else do you want from the Kings?
I mean, I take Keon Ellis.
Okay.
But like nothing else is really that appetizing to me. Like DeRozan isn't even possible because of the money. I wouldn't want him.
Levine, same deal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess I'd take Levine, but like he makes what, $43 million. That's literally not even possible. That would be something you'd have to wait until the regular season to get done. And even then you probably still got to move Buddy and somebody else. it'd probably be Kuminga, Buddy, and Moody, even if you wait till like January to do it. There's just nothing that appetizing on that roster, and that's part of the other issue. And that's what you get for dealing with shitty franchises. They don't have a lot of good options for you to trade with. So like you're stuck with a Malik Monk or a Keon Ellis, who's a solid player, but not necessarily a needle mover. There just aren't many other guys on that roster that excite me at all.
And what about moving Malik Monk to a third team? Is there anything, like, I'm putting you on the spot here. Is there anything that comes to mind?
I mean, it never happened. Can you go give me Denny Avdia from Portland? Like, I'll take him, but like, that's not going to happen. I just would the Lakers have an appetite to move Austin Reeves or Kuminga? I don't think so. And again, that's not a move that can really happen. I mean, what's he making? Is he 14 million?
Who?
Reeves? Is he about 14 million a year?
Yeah, 13.9.
Okay. I guess that's somewhat doable then. I don't know the exact mechanics of it. I'm not a capologist, but like
Boston has a trade exception that could absorb Monk. They're not going to use it on Monk.
No, like would you want Simons instead of Monk? Not really, I guess. But
it's
still
expiring, so it's like moderately more exciting. Yeah. But yeah, I hear you.
Like, but then you're still moving. I think you do still, because Simons is what, about 18 mil, about the same as Monk. So I think you still have to move Buddy or Moody in that equation. I don't know. It just, everybody feels pretty set with their teams at this point. And again, this is the issue with waiting until September 24th to get active with this kind of stuff. Teams are done with their moves. Like the Bulls might have wanted him at some point. The Suns kind of wanted him at some point, but like the Suns just did their media day. Yeah, you can still move players, but like how enthusiastic are you going to be about that after doing your media day? I just don't know. Like everybody's trying to figure their stuff out now. Training camps are starting. It's just going to be less likely that somebody actually gets moved.
I guess there's Utah. Utah has a trade exception for him.
Who would you want back from Utah? I mean, I'd take Walker Kessler, but he doesn't make anything, so you'd probably have to throw in some. Utah would have to throw in some salary filler.
I don't even think they have the space to get it done either. So you'd have to. There are under the cap, so you could do something where you take back a smaller contract and they eat it. KJ Martin.
Yeah, he does some of the stuff you want Kuminga to do. Not as dynamic in terms of like what he can do with the ball.
You can't really work a trade that gets you to Lauri Markkanen.
No, not at this point. If he still made 18 million, sure. That matches Monk's number exactly. And yeah, of course I'd do Kuminga and Buddy or Moody for Markkanen, but that's off the table.
Does this feel like a fool's errand to you then?
Yes. It does. I don't see a world where anything gets done. The Warriors don't want Kuminga or don't want Monk. Nobody else really wants Monk at that number. Everybody's pretty set with their rosters at this point in time. I mean, could you talk Houston into something since they just lost Fred VanVleet? But is Houston really giving you Tari Eason for Malik Monk? I just don't see that. You know what I mean? Like, why would Houston do that?
Yeah. Houston's an interesting one because they just got a massive need at ball handler.
And Monk would help them.
Yeah. Because he's better than Aaron Holiday.
But like, are the Warriors and Rockets, for a multitude of reasons, really going to want to make a trade with each other because of the history? Like, in theory, they're going to be playoff opponents, or like at least vying for similar seeding, potential playoff matchup. Like those trades just don't.
Yeah, you do kind of want teams who are trending in a different direction. It's always easier to trade with the East than the West,
right? Or other conference at the very least. Like the Wolves Knicks trade made sense last year. The Cat for Randall swap, or Randall and DiVincenzo, like that made sense because you're in different conferences. And if you have to see that team in the finals, it's all kind of gravy anyway. Like you've made it to the finals, so you just kind of like let the chips fall where they may. But you're not trading with another team who projects to be in the top 6 of the Western Conference typically.
Yeah. I mean, it feels unlikely at this stage. That's the best way I'll put it right now.
This is kind of an interesting one, as much as I hate the guy, and I just spotlighted it. Resign Kuminga and trade him for Dillon Brooks mid-season. It's kind of interesting.
I'm pro Dillon as a player as much as he's like a foil, but he's not what the Warriors need. You just don't need great value Draymond or discount Jimmy Butler
Yeah, he
per
shoots
se.
it though, man. He shoots it. He shot like
Does he shoot it? He's one of
he
those guys
last
who it's
year.
like,
He did last year. It was 8 threes a game at like
I'll
40.
put a bet with you right now. He will not shoot over 34% from three.
I know. I'm
You want to
trying
get back to the who gets guarded versus who doesn't get guarded question?
no, believe me, I know. But like I'll fool myself with that one because at least it's a wing with some size who's physical and like teams kind of guard him.
Who understands his role too. That's like he
Oh,
understands like the things that matter to winning. So
the only concern I'd have with like especially in the playoffs, I don't think we'd make it through a playoff series. Like Draymond and Dylan, they would each get suspended for a game within a playoff series because everything would be so agitated the entire time. But maybe that's their best path to winning at this point because they are older. Like you just have to absolutely muck the game up to a ridiculous degree.
Yeah. You're gonna have to embrace being the villain. You're
Yeah.
not winning beautiful game style. Sorry, Steph.
No.
You're gonna have to make people feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the goons here. We got some callers coming in.
Let's do it.
Gio.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Gio always sound like he's underwater?
Hello?
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good, Gio.
Am I here? Okay. Good. All right. I don't know, like, bro, like, I just hope by next Saturday it's done. Like, he's either moved or we've like signed him to it, like to the team or something like that. Because like it's getting very annoying now. Like it's almost October. Like it's media day already for like some teams, right? Like, let's get this done. Let's get this done already because this is insane. This is insane to me.
Gio, what's your if I said right now Malik Monk and a first, or you keep Kuminga and Moody, what's your preferred avenue?
I'll give you the first, but the issue is that the Warriors don't trade. Like, if you tell me like month for a first, right? Then we trade that first and like mid-season for something. Okay, well, this team doesn't trade any assets. Like, they don't like risks.
Well, yeah, because
like,
we're
they
going to
don't do that. So like you might as well keep him if that's it. Because like if you like, at least tell me like you're gonna move the contract. Yeah, Giannis. But like. But my issue is like if they like moved like CP for something or like just trade a pick for something at least once in the last like 5 years, we're not here. And like this is like if they traded like I guess for a pick for Caruso or like a pick for OG, then we're not here. But the thing is, they don't trade picks. They don't trade picks at all. Like there is no risk taking from this team. That's the problem. Like a pick means nothing to me because they don't trade those picks ever. Like a first for what? Like they don't trade picks. So what's the point? Like I don't know.
I mean that's fair.
Yeah, that's my thing.
I get where you're coming with it. I just have a hard time. Like the thing I keep coming back to is I have such a hard time giving up Kuminga and Moody
and the
for an imperfect player like Malik Monk. Like if we're talking about like Trey Murphy, then it's like, yeah, you can have both and you can have a couple picks too.
Sure.
Because we got the wing we were hoping either of them turned into, But when you're talking about trading them both for a guy that Steve is always going to view as a nice to have, can help us, but I'm not closing with him guy, like I have such a hard time with that.
Oh, like how about just like how about this, right? Fire your coach then, because like, what's the point? Like, I'm having Jake on the team, because I mean, I don't understand this. Like, this is why there are no good decisions here. Like, there are no good spots here. Like, you either traded for Malik Monk in the first, okay, or you keep him for for the like half of the year or something like that. Like, there are no good like scenarios here. Like, or fire your coach and like maybe inject some new life or something. I don't know, but like, there's no point. Like none of this matters anymore. Yeah,
I do agree with you on the macro thing. I appreciate you, Gio. Like, you can't. He's either your coach and you agree with him, or you think he's royally fucking up, in which case you should fire him. Have some balls. Have some balls to be like, he's wrong. I'm going to bring someone in here and you're going to criticize me for 3 months and this guy's going to make Kuminga a star. I'll give Joe credit for this. We fired Mark Jackson. Not popular. Not popular at all. What do you mean? They just made the playoffs twice. This team never makes the playoffs. Steph loves him. Steph made an impassioned plea at the podium saying, what the fuck are you doing? That's like the most I've seen Steph mad. But he was right. And 4 months later, nobody's criticizing shit for, like I lived it. I remembered it was like, okay, I understand you want to move on from him, but you're really going to hire a dude who's never coached from TV again? Like, at least go get Stan Van Gundy. At least Stan's been there. What the fuck are we doing? And my entire point here is, it's not to like be like Joe knows, hashtag Joe's best. It's, if you believe something and you have conviction around it, live with the noise, because I promise you, if you're right, everyone's gonna come out and be like, you know what? Steve's a legend, but it was time. And this new guy unlocked a new level in these young guys I didn't think was possible. Like it's like, but you don't feel that. You don't have that conviction. So you're just whining when you talk about being mad about Steve.
I mean, number one, it's just like classic kind of disease of more stuff. Like, everybody's too concerned with the noise on the outside, and everybody's too concerned about who's getting the credit. And at least from the front office standpoint, in particular, Joe, like, so worried about like what the public thinks, and what if Kuminga goes somewhere else and turns into a star, and what if this and what if that, instead of just like making a move and having some conviction. But the team had like clearly, and I remember like somewhat disagreeing with the Mark Jackson thing, because it was clear that Steph liked him, as you said, but it was clear this team had another level to reach at that point. Are you going to really argue with 9 rings? Like, throw the rings on the table, man. Steve's got 9 of them.
But like, you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm saying, if you truly think that's what's holding you back, have the balls to stand by your word.
Sure.
But you don't actually believe it, because you're afraid. No. You're kind of afraid that the old dude, the annoying dude who talks about, soul and philosophy,
all finds energy.
He might. There might be something to it. There might be just a little bit something to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is something to it.
There is something to it, but like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's a lack of conviction. Have conviction in your beliefs and live with the results.
And there was also we touched on this earlier, there was just a better organizational structure at that point. Like, that decision wasn't just being made by Joe. Like, Bob believed in that decision, and I'm sure so did Jerry West and Travis Schlenk. Like, they were probably all pretty aligned on like, we have to move on from Mark, because we think this team has another level to go up. Like, clearly Steph is a budding star. And Bogut's one of the better defensive big men in the league. Clay is blossoming. Like, this team can go to the next level, and we don't think Mark Jackson is the guy to do it. By the way, did you see what our guy McWalter said in the chat? I spotlighted it for you. Just send Monk to the Bucks for Gary Harris and Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis dream fulfilled. There we go. There's a solution.
McWalters, you're the only person I like on this planet. Sage, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up?
Day 87.
Day 87.
I can't believe we're here. I mean, honestly, once I saw that 3 years, 75, I thought this was over. But
you got to admit, though, part of you was like, but I'm not surprised. 100%.
Well, it definitely confirms my vociferous complaining about Kuminga and his camp. Which is that they're full of jackasses and they don't really understand what they're doing. I mean, I think that's been confirmed at this point. And I think the first point I'll make is just, I don't see how the vets, I know they're being careful about this, but especially with the news today that he didn't show up to this Jimmy Butler mini camp thing. I don't know if he was invited or not. I'm going to assume he was. I just don't see how the vets are okay with this guy, even if this gets done. So I'm curious about your perspective on this, because I just don't see it as tenable from a from a chemistry point of view. I mean, it just
Yeah.
seems totally broken.
All this stuff is always so precarious because the adage about like athletes, professional athletes, not pocket watching other professional athletes. If you talk to any of them, like it's true. They will never be grudge guys for trying to get their money. And I understand that because the earning window is so limited. Like you really have 10, 12 years if you're lucky. Like most of these guys don't have that long of a career. I think Draymond in particular won't be mad at him. Steph will probably be agitated but somewhat aloof about it.
Probably not going to punch him.
I wouldn't think so. Everything that we know about Steph,
Although I think he should, but I
yeah,
hear you.
yeah. Everything that we know about Steph tells us he's not gonna like. He'll bring JK back into the fold and he'll try to make it work. But in all likelihood, they can talk nice as much as they want, and they could enter the season with everything being okay and it feeling like it's kind of like honky dory, whatever. But the ice is going to be very, very, very thin. And the
Yep.
first thing that goes wrong, that ice is going to crack. It's not going to take much to break it. And that is the real issue. They can patch it over for as long as you want, but it's operating on such thin ice.
That's what I was going to say, which is everyone's going to say the right things because ultimately I do think they believe in the wisdom of like, let your peers and coworkers like earn what they can.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where like that 500th time he's looked you off for a terrible shot is just going to bother you a little more than it did before. And it's just, it's the weight of, I actually thought Zach Lowe probably verbalized it the best, but I think we've all thought it. It's like the reason they need to move him is because there's too much baggage.
Yes.
It's like we're on year 5, dude. Steph has been arguing with him to buy in and do the little things for 5 years. Steve Kerr has been doing it more than anyone. Like at a certain point, you just kind of have to accept that he's not going to do that. He wants to figure out who he is. Maybe that's foolish, but that's where his head's at. You like, there's no like grand epiphany that's coming from him accepting a contract 90 days into a contentious debate that's going to be like, all right, now I'm a screen setter, guys. Now I'm ready to be Aaron Gordon. Like it's not going to happen. He might become Aaron Gordon, but it's only going to happen after he goes to like the Kings. Mm-hmm. Life fucking sucks. He has to hear everyone calling into the radio for 3 years talking about how overrated he is. And then he's going to be like, you know what? Life's a lot better in a different situation. Or maybe he wins. Maybe he wins. Maybe he goes there and he discovers a superstar and everyone in the Warriors is wrong. But like the reality is clearly his head is there and the Warriors need him here. And you just can't make a young guy who has certain aspirations think differently than he wants to.
Which was the entire fault with this fucking plan from the beginning.
Exactly. It was doomed to fail.
You're drafting lottery picks who clearly, like, no matter what type of players they are, most of the guys that you draft in the lottery, they think of themselves as stars. Wiseman was a complete bust. That was never going to work. He's a terrible basketball player. Kuminga, like, you kind of had to know this guy thinks he's a superstar. Look at the way he played in the G League. Just watch those 12 to 14 games. That's a guy who thinks he's Kobe Bryant. Yep. And like, whether he is or not, he's clearly not Kobe. Whether he can be a one-time all-star or whatever in this league, that's something that doesn't, like, you have to like genuinely fail somewhere for that to get taken away from you. And just to take this back to the Steph point really quick. Again, we all saw this in late March of last season. Who did Steph ask to play to close out that Denver game at home? That was a huge win. It wasn't Kuminga. He asked for Guy Santos. Like, that tells you where he's at with the guy. He's at his wit's end. He's already been at his wit's end. And like, you think him and Draymond and Jimmy weren't on board with not playing Kuminga in the playoffs? That's probably what they wanted. You know, that Steve isn't unilaterally making that decision.
No, people think Steve is acting as a tyrant and Steph is somehow like brainwashed. Like he's jumping in front of bullets for Steph. And I don't agree with every decision he makes, but the man knows who he needs to keep happy to keep employed.
100%. I'll just say this, and I know you guys probably have a line of people who want to talk. This is why I don't think it makes any sense from the organization's point of view to turn that TO into a PO. In what world can you hold someone accountable on a player option deal? Like that gives you one less tool to hold someone accountable who refuses to buy in. Now you're going to buy in now that we can't hold you accountable? It doesn't make any sense. So I don't see this as a tenable situation. And I hear the whole discussion about fire occur or, pick a timeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where, unfortunately, we need Pablo Torre to investigate the Lakers because I think that's really the only way out of this mess.
I don't even think. Well, actually, to be honest, we probably need Pablo just because someone needs it on the record. But the really sad part is, I don't think we need to investigate it. I think it's transparently obvious what's gone on here.
Mm-hmm.
Although one could
True.
say the same with Kawhi with the Clippers. So it is what it is. The ultimate point I want to make on this one. Appreciate you, Sage.
Yeah, thanks, Sage.
It was done the day Kerr DNP'd him on the biggest game on national TV. And look, I've had my issues with JK, but I'm not going to fault him for feeling a certain way about that and just wanting out. He's willing to take less to go to Sacramento. Do you know how many people have ever taken less to go to? Like, it's actually kind of an insult to the Warriors front office. But that's where he's at with it. He's just like, it makes me in some ways respect him a lot more, where he's just like, dude, I just want to go somewhere that appreciates me and will play me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I can't blame him for that on a personal level. I get it. Like, who wants to play for a coach that doesn't believe in him? But these are arguments that I've been making and you've been making since 2020. Like, it was never
went through a damn pandemic. We're still
here. Like this was never gonna work. And part of the calculus was that they didn't think Steph would be good for this long. But you honestly, after 2021, after the 2020-2021 season, where Steph is quite literally the best player in the world, that was your chance to pivot, man. Or after 2022, you saw this guy still had a lot left in the tank. You could have scrapped the entire plan to start this second timeline because it was almost like Morey-like, where like for the longest time, Daryl Morey, his biggest thing was, and I think he's changed his views a little bit, but I remember reading a Grantland article back in like 2012 or 13, where he talked about, hey, we're just going to get the stars in the building and we'll worry about everything else later. Now the guy's kind of more bought into team chemistry. In somewhat of a similar vein, Laker was just like, let's just go get a bunch of talent and then we'll figure the rest out later. Number one, the guys that they drafted weren't that talented. But number two, you cannot ignore the human nature of this shit. Of course, a guy in his third or fourth year.
Well, I think you nailed the first one.
Yeah.
They're talented in a 1980s sense of basketball.
Sure.
It's so ironic that the Warriors, who redefined what basketball is and what skills matter, shooting is more valuable than athleticism, although you obviously need both. But like, you know what I mean? Like they truly redefined the idea of skill and IQ mattering more than physical tools. And then the first chance they get at the top of the lottery, Joe's just, it's
size queen.
He's like your boy who doesn't get out of the house on that first night at the bachelor party. I'm gonna let you guys fill in the gaps on where the bachelor party location is, but like you know what I'm talking about. Just straight to the ATM.
How much do I have in there? What's the max I can take out? Yeah. No, I just, the human nature part of all this was just ignored so heavily. And again, it kind of on the same vein of like, this is the team that revolutionized with shooting. This was the team that like the organization that kind of like revolutionized with like almost having like more of a personal touch with the players with the way that Steve and Bob operated with everybody. And then they just chose to ignore all of that. It's the wildest thing of all time. For the life of me, I can't figure out where Joe's head went. It was just ego, obviously, but it's just so ironic to me.
Or naivete. Get him into the organization and we'll figure it out, Which is to say you haven't been around enough young players to understand that you're asking them to do something that is highly unrealistic.
Right. I'm like, and people use like the Spurs Kawhi example, which is like, fine, you can use that. But like Kawhi wasn't expected to be a star. He started as a role player and he was the only young guy on those Spurs rosters. They didn't have one other player younger than like 25 or 26 years old on that 2014 championship.
Yeah.
roster. He was the only guy who was younger than that. So like they weren't trying to fit a bunch of young guys in. It was one young guy who was talented, clearly, and had a very specific role, and then a bunch of veterans who knew how to play. And that's never what the Warriors did. It wasn't even close.
Yeah. Let's get to McWalters real quick. I'm going to hop. Happy hour is over. The drink discounts are over. Time to go home.
McWalter, what up, dude? Uh-oh.
McWalter.
You're muted, McWalter.
Oh.
There we
There
go.
we go. You would think someone who does this for a living would be able to successfully connect. Apologies. Awesome. Dude, the hell's going on? We have 9 players? 9 players? Jesus, that's like maybe that's your rotation in the postseason. Dear God, I really hope none of those 4 guys get hurt at Jimmy's thing. You know, like God will be sued.
I know.
Like it's disaster. But I mean, I said it earlier. Kuminga's a sunk cost. I mean, I really am a fan of the talent when he came in, and I've always been a proponent of it. But this is like this is like a separated couple who's like decided to live together, and everyone around them is like, "This is dumb. This is dumb. This is dumb. This is dumb," and they just can't break up. And you got to do it. You got the prime example here. You just got to rip the Band-Aid and do it. Mm-hmm. And that's the only way you can live in life. And we're not doing it. We're just like, well, you know, maybe
it might work for us. It didn't work for those other people, but it might work for us.
Yeah, like I get some tax benefits if you just hang around. And, you know, but like this, no, it's not gonna work. It's gonna fuck you in the end. Just bite the bullet now. Wave him. Don't even extend him the queue. Wow. Oh, sorry, we waved you. You're no longer.
What percent chance do you give it that they prove you wrong? Because like obviously, I'm with you. I think they're fucked. I think it's over. I think if you bring him in next year, like inevitably there's going to be that November 13th locker room fight. And Draymond's going to be the bad guy because that's what happens when those things happen. But like, if that's where they go, what percentage chance do you give it that they're able to magically pull a rabbit out of their hat and move him on in the next, let's call it, week?
Okay. We believe that the Kings are still involved, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Under that scenario, it's 25% because the Kings are morons. And that's the only reason. It would be 1%. But the 24% of that is the Kings being stupid. So maybe you can even bump it to 26. And I'll give it a flat 25 for the Kings being stupid. And that is the only saving grace. Brooklyn's not available. The Bulls signed that pedophile. You know, like I feel like no one has cap space. The Suns can't do it. No one can do it. Only Vivek's obsession with getting things that were left over from Joe is the only thing that can save us.
Vivek's really the one sitting in the corner.
Vivek, you are our only hope.
I mean, he's always. Let's be honest. He's always been our only hope. We know that. We know
yes.
that. And you know, he's lucky that the current situation with his G League team is not a bigger news story right now.
Yes.
But
Yes. It's just
it's like that's kind of all we got going for us. So at least we're not the Kings. At least we're not the Kings.
What a great spot to be in.
I mean, if the thing the Warriors World tweet had was true, and we can get even a pick from the Kings, they are so inept that even that would be worth taking on Monk and figuring it out later because you're just banking on that 25%. The Kings franchise is sunk cost as well. Yeah, they're not like us. No, they're not like us. Anyone in the league.
Truly, nobody is like them.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're like something you want to be, but they're not like us. This is. I mean, it says it all. This is where we're at. Like, utter disgust with the direction of the Warriors, but praying the one team we like look down upon, that we're like, look, I mean, we're trash, but we're not that bad. That's who we're hoping to bail us out. That's where we're hoping for the golden parachute. That's where we're hoping. It's just like,
I mean, with the way everything's always gone for Joe, it does. I mean, maybe he'll just fail upward once again. Like that's really our only hope. He just fails upward one final time, like kind of like we did with the Jimmy deal, just like what happened with Steph, and like with everything, he'll fail upward one more time, and we'll get a 5th ring out of it. That's the most optimistic I can be with all this at this point.
I'm gonna get myself a Lake Up jersey if that happens.
Hell yeah.
What number are you putting on the Lake Up jersey?
What should it be? Should it be 5 for the 5th ring? No.
I don't know. I was hoping you had an answer to that, because I don't. Maybe just 00 Lake Up jersey. I feel like that'd be
Nobody
kinda
believes in
filthy.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
I had no believers. Shout out Gilbert.
I love
Mick Walters, I appreciate you, brother. Have a
Later.
great one.
Thank you.
All right, let's get out of here. I appreciate it. It seems like I will end with this, Tommy. I am getting excited because I think something's going to happen over the next 4 days. If you asked me before this, I would say I think we're going to the first. Now I'm just kind of like, let's see. Might get spicy. We might have to be back tomorrow.
Yeah. I would love it if we're back tomorrow. Please let us be back tomorrow with Kuminga.
Someone in the chat's like, Sam, don't do this to yourself. You are correct. I should not do this to myself, but I will. I will do this to myself. Appreciate everyone.
Thanks, everybody.